Really? You gotta be kidding me.
All right, Dad. Thank you to everyone, by the way. We've got over 10,000 Instagram followers now. Thank you to everyone who has joined us over on Instagram. I am going to pull up a car deal that was sent in to us, and this is why you need to go in and you need to talk to them and you need to be informed, Dad. Really, you got to be kidding me. This is a 2022 Nissan Versa. I know it's a little small, Dad, but they're selling the vehicle at MSRP.
Yeah.
But then they're charging a $2,199 PDI.
Wow.
Can you explain what a PDI is and why this makes no effing sense?
A PDI is a pre-delivery inspection, and it is required by every manufacturer on new cars when they ship them to their dealers that the dealer perform the pre-delivery inspection. Oh, and by the way, that's a warranty item and is reimbursed by the manufacturer. And I guarantee you, from having spent a couple weeks in the business, I guarantee you that Nissan Motors is not reimbursing a dealer $2,199 for a PDI. Maybe $130, maybe $150, maybe $200 a day, but it ain't $2,195. And there should be no charge to the customer for that. That is as bogus a dealer fee as you could ever hope to find. And then when people say, well, why do you bash the dealers all the time? Okay, that's why. Okay, what dealership was that in Smyrna, Georgia?
All right, give me a second. I don't want to share the personal information. That is Nissan of Lithia Springs.
Oh my God, look at that. So Nissan of Lithia Springs will sell you the car at MSRP. We're going to charge you $2,200 for a PDI that should never be paid for by the customer.
And I didn't know Georgia dock fees are now up to $1,100, $1,098.50 for the dock fee, Dad. I've never seen that in Georgia.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yes. Oh my Lord.
Be like Mark and start saving hundreds of dollars on your maintenance and repairs, or like Rich, who saved thousands annually on his insurance. Simply join YAA Plus, the only membership that saves you money on all things auto. Head to joinyaa.com/plans and use the code YouTube to save 20%.
All right, the other really, you got to be kidding me, Dad. This came in from a community member. And we've talked about Carvana. There was actually a couple funny chat messages just a moment ago talking about, well, when someone liquidates that inventory, like AutoNation comes in and buys Carvana, do they actually get the titles to the cars too?
Well,
no, that's an extra.
Those will only be the cars they buy.
All right, Dad. The TLDR of this story came in from Kyle. He sent it over to me. Too long didn't. Actually, I'll go through it. September of 2020, I bought a 2019 Dodge Grand Caravan from Carvana.
Yeah.
Okay, no big deal. I used my own financing with my credit union and traded in my 2019 Nissan Sentra. Again, September of 2020.
Yeah.
We've got now, Dad. I had moved states but left my registration in my home state because I'm a software contractor in the DC area. In March 2021, I traded in the van I had bought to a Subaru dealership in Northern Virginia and leased a 2021 Outback.
Okay.
Very normal stuff.
Yes.
A couple weeks later, I got a call from my credit union. The person in charge of the title department had never received the title for my van. And now the dealership needed it.
Makes it harder for them to release it to the new dealer.
She had tried to get in contact with Carvana, but was unsuccessful and asked if I would help her to try and get the title situation under control. So I tried to call Carvana for 2 days. Each time I was on hold for over 2 hours before their system hung up on me. It was then I realized that they had blocked my number due to a warranty issue I had with the van. The way I figured this out was by downloading an app that would mask my number and call into their system, and someone would answer within 5 to 10 minutes. But if I called using my number, I would be on hold for nearly 2 hours before getting hung up on. Once I got in touch with someone, they said the title had been processed and they were not able to see why I did not have it. My next call was to the state, who I'm very familiar with, being I have owned way too many personal cars and have helped run a buy here, pay here a lot in the past. I also sold new cars, so I knew something was not right. According to my contact at the state, Carvana did process the title, but they put themselves as the lien holder instead of the credit union. So the title was in their possession somewhere. Now, to clarify, this was not a lien with the loan servicer Bridgecrest. This was Carvana themselves listed as the lien holder. I called to double check, so back to masking my number and calling. I was routed to a new person every time, yada, yada, yada. It took me nearly a week to figure out what Carvana did and to actually find where the title was. And it took both me and the representative from the credit union calling every day for nearly 2 weeks to get some sort of action. What finally did What finally did, it was a threat of legal action. It was an absolute mess. And had I not known how the car business works and the legal ins and outs of this, it would have taken much longer. Oh, my credit union now strongly advises customers against using Carvana.
And I know people say, Ray, why do you bash Carvana? Why do you bash the people that buy from Carvana? I bash Carvana because they're not really in the car business, so to speak. Okay, they were in let's create a stock bubble business and let's us cash out, and they did to the tune of billions of dollars. God bless them. It's the American way. I get it. Screw your customers. Screw customer service. Make your money. Go invest it wisely because, the lawsuits, you're probably going to need it. But the reason I don't like people to do business with Carvana is because there is no customer service. Because if you don't know the ins and outs, you are going to get strung along for months. You have bought a vehicle that has a title. A title is a negotiable instrument. Okay, it is meant to be changed from one name to another in a timely fashion when somebody buys it from somebody else. And they can't seem to do that on a regular basis on a large percentage. Maybe it's a small percentage of the vehicles that they sell. So let's say in the third quarter, they sold 102,000 used cars. And let's say, just for fun, let's say out of that 102,000 used cars, they got the titling right on 100,000 of them. Well, what about those 2,000 people that paid for something that they can't legally drive? Okay, what about so if you can't get it right 100% of the time, you shouldn't be in the business. I understand that there can be situations where something falls through the cracks, where it's just an unusual circumstance. Okay, so you get it right 99.99% of the time, not 98% of the time, not 97% of the time. Okay, and don't blame it on antiquated systems that the states have in place. That's more BS. I know for the most part, customers hate dealers. And like Nissan of Lithia Springs is a reason why customers hate dealers. Do some due diligence. And I'm going to say it, check with the Better Business Bureau.
Check with us.
Check with us. Check with the Better Business Bureau. Check with people. Okay, talk to people and find the good dealerships because they do exist. They are out there. They might be in the minority, but they're there. And go do business with one of those dealers. And at least if you have to sue them, it'll probably be a lot easier.